first mistake that you're making on your weight loss journey is that you are not eating enough. And I know that we've all heard about the calorie deficit and how you have to burn more calories than you consume in order to lose weight. And while that is true, sometimes we go to the extreme with it, thinking that more is better, and it is actually counterproductive. And I'll give you an example. Think of your body like your cell phone battery. When you plug in your cell phone into the wall, you're giving it a source of energy. Like food is a source of energy for your body. And so what happens to your cell phone battery? It can run on and on and on as long as it has that constant source of energy. But when you unplug that battery from the wall, yeah, it still works, but it's starting to drain energy. And it gets to the point maybe at 20% or 15% battery left, it goes into power saving mode. Your phone is saying, I don't know when I am going to be plugged back into my power source. So therefore, I am going to slow down all of the functions that I am performing to conserve energy. Your body does the same thing when you overly restrict your calories. Yes, in the beginning, you are burning fat, you are losing weight, the scale is going down, everything is great. But then you get to that point where nothing works. Your body won't budge. It's called a plateau. And what is happening is your body is basically putting itself into power saving mode. It's like, okay, this is not sustainable. And if I keep this up, I am not going to have a source of energy in order to keep going. So your body slows down your metabolism and stops burning fat. And I know this to be true because I was doing the same thing. I was under eating and I was over exercising, thinking that the more calories I burned off and the less calories I consumed, the faster I was going to get rid of that weight. And what happened was, yeah, I would lose 5 to 10 pounds and then I would quickly regain it back. My body was not interested in being in starvation mode. Now, once I figured out that I actually needed to eat in order to lose weight, I was able to successfully lose 30 pounds in 75 days. And then I went on to lose 70 pounds in 9 months and 90 pounds overall. In fact, I lost so much fat around my midsection when I actually started to eat that I ended up having a tummy tuck in order to remove that loose skin because it was starting to impact my workouts. So when I tell you that under eating is a problem, I know it from experience. There is a calorie deficit that is optimal for fat burning, and then there is a calorie deficit that does nothing but put your body into starvation mode. What I want you to do in order to figure out what your optimal calorie deficit is for fat burning is to go to the TDEE calculator, and that's at tdeecalculator.net. Plug in your information, your height, your weight, how active you are, and then click on the cutting tab if you're interested in burning fat and losing weight. This will tell you exactly what your calorie deficit should be for optimal fat burning. And again, you don't want to overly restrict your calories. You want to eat to whatever this calorie target is for your weight loss goals. So go to the TDEE calculator, tdeecalculator.net, plug in your information and find out exactly what that optimal fat burning calorie deficit should be for your goals. Another mistake that you're making on your weight loss journey, and I know that you're doing it because I was doing it too and wondering why nothing was working for weight loss, and that is not eating enough protein. And protein is so important on our weight loss journeys for several reasons, but the biggest reason is that protein just keeps you full. Now, I realized that once I started to hit certain protein targets, that I was less inclined to snack. I could eat breakfast and front load my protein at breakfast, and then I would look up and it was almost lunchtime. And before I started this journey and before I started to really focus on protein intake, I would be snacking. Like I would actually be watching the clock, waiting for the time to have a mid-morning snack. And now when I'm hitting my protein targets, I can eat breakfast and I will look up and it's almost lunchtime and I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed my mid-morning snack. But you know, a lot of times the extra calories that we take in that kick us out of the calorie deficit is because we're doing a lot of snacking. And so protein would definitely help us to stay full and stay fuller longer so that we avoid that snacking that tends to kick us out of that calorie deficit. Now, another reason why protein is important is because it's one of the building blocks of muscle building, and you need your muscle in order to burn fat. That is what drives the metabolism. And so if you're not eating protein, you're not preserving your muscle. We're women over 40 and we just naturally lose muscle as we age. And so we have to figure out a way to preserve the muscle that we have. Even better if we build muscle, but at least preserve the muscle that we have. And we do that by making sure we're eating enough protein. Now, I highly recommend that you aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein at each major meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you're gonna have snacks in between, just make sure that they are a protein-filled snack. Now, if you use the TDEE calculator that I mentioned in the first mistake, and you found your calorie deficit, then you also found your macro targets, which included protein. And so when I went about my weight loss journey, I actually used the TDEE calculator. I found my calorie deficit, but I also found my macro targets, and I started to eat to that protein target. And that was how I was able to lose the 30 pounds in 75 days, 70 pounds in 9 months, and 90 pounds overall. So I recommend that you start with 25 to 30 grams of protein at each major meal. But if you are really serious about losing weight and keeping it off for good, then go to that TDEE calculator and find out what your protein target should be for your goals, and then start tracking what you eat against that target and see what it takes for you to actually hit that protein target every day. That's exactly what I did. I used MyFitnessPal to track what I was eating, and that was how I was able to ensure I was hitting that protein target every day. And once I did that, like I said, the cravings just automatically subsided. I wasn't looking for a snack all the time. I was really full with my 3 major meals, and I was able to stay within my calorie deficit because I just wasn't snacking outside of those 3 major meals. Okay, so here's another reason why your weight loss efforts aren't working. You're doing too much cardio. And believe me, I get it. I was cardio queen. I thought that I had to sweat in order to lose weight. And so I was just doing nothing but cardio 7 days a week. I would do an hour, hour and a half at a time. And let me tell you, once again, the things that we think are working for weight loss are actually counterproductive. Here is why too much cardio is a bad thing on your weight loss journey. Now, one of the reasons is because cardio actually starts to break down your muscle after a certain time period. And so, yes, you're burning calories and you're thinking that, this is helping with the calorie deficit. And yeah, it is. But after about 45 minutes of steady state cardio, your body is no longer burning off fat reserves and energy reserves in your body. It's starting to burn off muscle, and that is counterproductive to your weight loss goals. You need your muscle in order to burn fat because your muscle drives your metabolism. So if you're constantly doing nothing but cardio, yes, you're burning calories, but eventually you start to eat away at your muscle that you actually need to burn fat. And so cardio just simply becomes one of those things that you're doing is keeping you in a calorie deficit, but it is not actually helping to progress your weight loss goals. And another thing about cardio is that you're only burning calories when you're actually in the workout. Once you stop the workout, the calorie burn stops. Whereas the muscle on your body actually helps you to burn calories even while you're at rest. And so it's just counterproductive to burn off your muscle doing nothing but cardio when you absolutely need that muscle in order to reach your weight loss goals. And on the flip side of that, you're not doing enough strength training, or you're probably actually not doing any strength training at all. And I know that I was making this mistake. Again, I was cardio queen. You would not catch me in the gym on the weight training side of the room. I was intimidated by the equipment. I was intimidated by the people. I didn't know what I was doing. I was going to get on the Stairmaster, the elliptical, the treadmill, and I was going to call it a day. But again, I was losing and regaining the same 5 pounds and didn't understand why. I was just simply eating away at my muscle with all of this cardio, and I wasn't doing any strength training. And strength training is so important, especially over 40, because we're losing our muscle mass naturally as we age. You have to pick up the weights, and they don't even have to be heavy weights. I know there are a lot of women who will tell me, I don't want to look bulky. I don't want to look muscular. I don't want to look like a man. And I promise you, you will not. Unless you're taking some major supplements, strength training will absolutely do none of that for your body as a woman. But what it will do is help you to maintain and even build up your muscle mass so that you have the muscle on your body to propel your metabolism, and then your metabolism in turn helps you to burn fat even while you're at rest. So here's the game plan for your workouts. No more than 30 to 45 minutes of cardio 3 to 4 times a week. That's all you really need. Cardio is great for your heart health, so continue to do cardio. Just don't do cardio excessively. Now, on the flip side of that, for strength training, 3 to 4 times a week, hitting all of the major muscle groups. It doesn't take much. Once or twice a week per muscle group is all you need. I promise you, you will start to notice a difference in your body. Now, the scale, and the scale is a whole nother thing, but the scale may not reflect like an immediate weight loss. But I will tell you, when you look in the mirror, there will be a noticeable difference. When I started to strength train on my weight loss journey, there were times when I would get on the scale and it would reflect that I had only lost 4 pounds for that month. But when I looked in the mirror, it looked like I had lost a good 20 pounds. And that was because my body was burning off fat faster because I am building my muscle, and then that muscle takes up less space than the fat does. A pound of muscle and a pound of fat weigh the same thing, but the muscle takes up less space in our body, so it makes you look slimmer. It makes you look slender when you have more muscle and less fat on your body. So the scale could have easily discouraged me because it only went down 4 pounds. But when I looked in the mirror, oh, I knew something was happening, and I knew I was onto something with the strength training, and that's why I have continued to do it. So 30 to 45 minutes of cardio, 3 to 4 times a week. Strength training, you want to hit every major muscle group at least once, twice is good, but at least 1 time a week, and you will start to notice a major difference in your body composition. You will start to burn fat faster, and your clothes will start to fit better. You will be able to look in the mirror and tell a difference. Stay off the scale, take progress photos, and look in the mirror. Your eyes tell a better story than that scale ever will once you start to pick up the weights. Now, if you want to lose weight and you are finding that nothing is working on your weight loss journey, you don't know what you're doing wrong, one of the things that I can almost guarantee is that you're not getting enough sleep. And a lot of people sleep, pun intended, on this advice. The advice is you should get at least 7 hours of quality sleep every night. Now, 8 is optimal. I've heard 9. A minimum of 7 hours of quality sleep. And here's why. Your body is a machine, and so it does things in an efficient manner. Your body does not try to compete with the daily activities as you go about your day to perform essential functions, essential body functions. It waits until you're at a state of rest because it can burn the least amount of energy to perform those functions. So what happens is you're going about your day, you're exercising, you're working, you're with the kids, you're cooking dinner, etc., etc. You're not in fat burning mode during that time. When you go to sleep, your body starts to perform the fat burning and the muscle building functions. And so if you give your body the time it needs, about 7 hours at a minimum, then your body will perform these functions while you sleep. The problem comes in where we don't get enough sleep, and so your body doesn't have time to perform these functions. We're cutting that time short because we're not getting sleep. And so sleep is basically a free time for fat loss, and a lot of people are giving that up. It's like going into the store with a coupon and not using the coupon. Like it was a waste, right? And a lot of people are wasting that fat burning time every single night because they're not getting enough sleep. And that compounds over time. Just think about it. If you were to take a full week and get in at least 7 hours of sleep every single night, imagine how much fat you would burn over that time period versus only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night. Again, it is a free opportunity to help yourself burn off the fat and reach your weight loss goals. But a lot of people will skip this part. A lot of people will say, I don't have time for that. And I'm telling you, you have to make time for the rest, because that is when your body actually burns fat and loses weight. Now, I know I talked a lot about my own weight loss journey and the mistakes that I was making when nothing was working for weight loss and how I went about fixing them. The next time I want to share with you the stories of other women just like you who have taken exactly what I shared with you today and incorporated it into their own weight loss journeys, and they are absolutely reaching their weight loss goals. In fact, not only have they joined the Get Fit Blueprint and they're following that, as a self-paced program, but a lot of them have joined the Get Fit Challenge, which is an 8-week coaching program with me. And some of them have even won cash prizes in the Get Fit Transformation Contest because they were able to take this, what I just shared with you, incorporate it into their own journeys, and they are seeing success. And yes, they are women over 40, just like you. So I'm excited to be able to share those stories with you next time. Take a moment to click on the subscribe button and turn on your notifications because you don't want to miss that next video. And if this video has been helpful to you, take a moment and give it a thumbs up so that other women just like you can find it and finally learn what it takes to lose weight for good as a woman over 40. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.